Hi folks, just a little quick one. Basically I've had a few questions about where my earth points are, etc. And people are having a few little niggly issues electrically that may point to bad earths. So I am going to point out all the earth points on a Mark 1 Focus that I am aware about and what the manual says. Now obviously the 182 litre engine I can't refer to, but there's only a couple of ground points that really that engine would have that I can't point out on this example being a 1.6 nor for the diesel models, but there will be an earth point on every single engine. There'll be a ground from the chassis to the engine block or the cylinder head in particular. I'm going to show you now through the car where they are. Right, starting with the interior, down here under this trim panel, there are a couple of earth points down there. I think there's one or two. They're hidden very well by this panel, and you're going to need a spanner probably to unhook them. Now, every earth point on a Mark 1 Focus is a 10mm earth point. The interior ones are not a problem to crack off. They're not going to seize, they don't rust. Unless you've had massive water ingress, particularly on this side, but usually they will come off quite nicely. Again, get some 1000 grit or even more like 800 grit sandpaper and just go over where the earth point touches the body, sand down the bit of the body, because sometimes in the factory they put the actual earth bolts flat against paint. Now that might be okay for a while, but when you're having issues, it's the first thing I look at, and I've improved a lot of things by grounding back the paint around the earth points themselves. And on the other side, behind this trim panel, just take this trim panel up, take the carpet back. There are two earth points here, and there's a further one just around here, just further back. Again, same as the other side, they should crack off really nicely. Clean them up, sand them down, job's a good one. Now in the boot we've got a couple of things. The wiper motor has its own earth. That is simply, I believe, for the wiper motor and for the heated screen itself. I don't believe it controls operates anything else. In the boot we have an earth point which is literally behind this carpet. There is a load of loom that's going, if I can show you. Yeah, there's an earth point right where my finger is. So as you're looking, it's right here where my finger is. Clean that earth point. That will be for the reverse, the fog lights at the bottom, and I believe the tail lights. No, the tail lights will be a different. I believe the tail lights will earth over some of those bolts I've pointed out on the inside, but for that will control definitely the bottom fog light and the reverse light. I will point out that there are things in the interior like the airbag module. There's a few other bits that have their own earth points, but you'll see that earth point directly next to them or very, very close. But in general, those are the actual earth connections that I can point out to you. Now, the next one is in the engine. Now, these are the important ones, okay? Now, down here, we should have two earth points, one here and one here. Unfortunately, as you can see, the problem, I actually snapped mine. This is a really important tip. Every single one in the engine bay, the two here and there's a few over here that I'm going to point out, please, if you are cleaning them, lubricate them. WD-40 or anything you could get your hands on, any penetrating fluid, let it soak in. Please do, just don't put something on and have a whack, because Andrew 6 years ago did that. And that was because he didn't use penetrating fluid, he had no patience, he didn't put the socket squarely on the nut because it had slightly ballooned and rusted, he didn't wire brush it. As a result, it slipped and it rounded as a result. And I tried to get it off another way and it ended up screwing the head off. Well done, Andrew. That is a top tip. But don't worry, there's some extra earth points. That wire that was there, it is now here. You've got some extra earth points here. It might have been for the other models like the diesel models or the 1.82 litre models. I don't know. They gave you an extra earth point, so it's all good there. I must give this car a bit of a clean. Stone chip is coming off a little bit. But these are the main areas. So there's two there. Then, obviously, aside from the main earth cable, obviously the starter motor has got its own earth point connection. Check the earth point on the alternator. Always give that a bit of a clean as well. It's held on by this cap. But I would actually clean that underneath and just make sure that's making a good connection. If you've got a later car, you will have a rubber bung. Now down here you will have an earth point right there. Now I've painted that, but I have sanded it down underneath. I did the stone chip later on, but basically that one as well, sand it back down to bare metal, and then put the actual bolt back on. Not over tight, please do not do it over tight, because again you'll end up snapping the bolt. They're only like little earth bolts, and I believe there's possibly another one at the front here. There might be another one just where my hand is. And then the main earth cable is just here where my finger is. It connects to the chassis to the back of the engine. Now this one again, just make sure it's clean, make sure the bolt is nice and tight, and that's another great one. Now to be fair, that earth cable was actually loose for a long time. I don't know how long it had been loose for, but the bolt had come out. Possibly I forgot to put it back on after an engine job, because I have taken a few bits off of this in the past. But this car ran perfectly fine with that earth cable disconnected. But you don't want that long term, because that's putting a strain on all your other earth points. But the biggest earth point, I'm afraid, it's this. Okay, please clean your negative terminal. It should be that clean. It should be that clean on the positive side, but mainly the negative side. Okay, it would do good to actually clean the whole lot. I mean, these can get really gummed up as well with dirt. Clean all around here, because dirt can get in the actual wire itself. Sometimes they can get a bit frilly there. I've noticed that mine isn't in the best shape, but it's actually, you know, it's good enough to make a good connection. But if there was a problem there, then I'd know about it. Sometimes I've known them to actually break on these connectors, but it'd be a simple case of crimping new ones on, or just getting some second-hand ones. Again, that one looks okay, it's not too bad, as long as you haven't got any of the green corrosion. I'd clean it out with contact clean if you have, and make sure that's good as well. I don't know what it's for, it's a single wire, but make sure that's clean as well. Just go around the actual battery connector and the actual terminal itself, and that will cure a lot of problems. People really underestimate the importance of earth points. Essentially, it completes a circuit. Everybody thinks, oh, I've got to clean the positive connections, or the bit that actually connects to the actual item, but they actually neglect to think about the earth points. And earth points can cause so many different issues. You know, I've known people to have funny rear lights that basically when you press the brake pedal, your indicator lights come on instead of the brake light. It's stuff like that. Central locking, that could be bad earths, and I suspect that the earth points I've pointed out control the doors. Now I can't really guarantee, I can't really specify what ground points control which items, but at the end of the day, the earth points are crucial to the running of the engine and the gearbox and the drivetrain in here. The earth points in the car are crucial to things like the windows, the central locking, and the individual components inside the car. And then obviously the one in the back of the boot is crucial to what happens on the tailgate, etc. So really, have a go. Have a day where you clean all the earth points. Do it. And let's see what difference it makes. It might make absolutely no difference if there's no problems. If you've got no problems and no symptoms, then I'd leave them alone. There's no real need. Clearly they're getting good earth connections. But if you're somebody who likes preventative maintenance, go for it. I recommend it. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave that there with you. Take care. I will see you very soon.